Okay, so if you've ever worked at a startup, I bet you've heard this one. We're like a family here. And on the surface, it sounds amazing. It makes you think of loyalty, support, a real sense of belonging. But we're going to unpack why that one little phrase, as well-intentioned as it is, might actually be a huge red flag. And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of the issue. You see, families and startups are just wired differently when it comes to feedback. In a family, a lot of the time, the main goal is emotional comfort. We protect each other's feelings, we kind of dance around the hard conversations. But a startup, its number one priority is just to survive. And to do that, it desperately needs the cold, hard truth. It needs direct, sometimes really tough feedback just to stay alive. So one runs on comfort, the other runs on candor. So let's start with a scene you might recognize. Picture a typical seed stage company. It's a happy, super tight-knit team, all smiles, and they're inside this little glass jar labeled seed stage. They've even got a banner up that says, "We're a family." From the outside, it looks perfect, a positive, totally cohesive team. What could be wrong with that? But you have to ask yourself, is that picture of perfect harmony the whole story? What's actually going on underneath all those smiles and good vibes? To figure that out, well, we've got to look a little closer.
It's time for what we might call an uncomfortable diagnosis. We're going to bring in a special tool, a metaphorical X-ray scanner. This is going to let us peer right inside that jar, past all the smiles, and get a real sense of the team's health. Let's see what's actually going on in there.
And there it is. Our X-ray gives us its first finding. The diagnosis? A little something called harmony theater. Now, this is a really important term, so let's break down exactly what it means. So, harmony theater is basically a culture where keeping the peace is more important than telling the truth. You can see it in our X-ray, right? The team is still smiling, but now you can see their mouths are taped shut. And that visual just says it all. There is zero feedback happening, everyone's just acting like they're in harmony, but nobody is saying what actually needs to be said. Now, you might be thinking, so what? What's the big deal? A little peace and quiet sounds pretty good. But this kind of comfort, it comes with a hidden and very steep price. A culture of good vibes only isn't just a little harmless, it's actually a ticking time bomb for a startup. And the specific cost of all this harmony theater? It's a nasty little phenomenon called quality drift. This is exactly what happens when those small problems and little mistakes are ignored because nobody wants to be the one to ruin the mood. You see that little bug monster in the back? That's an unresolved issue. And because everyone's ignoring it, it doesn't just go away. Oh no, it starts to grow. And that growing bug, well, it leads us to maybe the most important takeaway for any founder or team member. A good vibes-only culture doesn't actually solve problems. It just kicks the can down the road. It delays them until they're not just big problems, but ridiculously expensive problems to fix. Expensive in time, in money, and in team morale. And because this whole happy family act is completely artificial, it can't last forever. It always, and I mean always, leads to a breaking point. There comes a moment when the price of staying silent becomes way too high, and that whole illusion just shatters. And that's the snap. The bug monster is now a full-blown crisis. A massive failure just happened, and all of a sudden, everyone is looking around asking the exact same devastating question. Why didn't anyone say something sooner? And the tragic answer is, the system, that whole family culture, was designed to make sure nobody would. So how in the world do you fix this? The most important thing to realize is that this isn't about blaming individuals for being quiet. It's a system problem. And a system problem needs a system solution. It's time to install what we're going to call the Candour Patch. The fix is a team patch called Candour Norms. Think of it like we're literally applying a software patch directly to the team's culture. This isn't about trying to change people's personalities. It's about changing the fundamental rules of engagement for the whole team. And this patch is built on a really, really important idea. See, a lot of people think psychological safety means feeling comfortable all the time, but that's not it at all. True psychological safety is about creating an environment where every single person on the team feels safe enough to speak the truth, especially when it's hard, without any fear of being punished or pushed out. It's about prioritizing truth over comfort. So how do you actually put this into practice? It's pretty straightforward. You set up clear rules for how to be candid, but with care. Rule 1, feedback has to be specific and actionable. No vague stuff. People need to know exactly what to do. Rule 2, it has to be delivered with kindness and respect. And Rule 3, which is absolutely critical, you have to tie the feedback to shared outcomes. Explain why this feedback is going to help the whole team win. When you stop treating this like a people problem and start treating it like a system problem, you see this incredible transformation happen. This isn't about telling people to just be braver. It's about building a system where being brave is the easy and normal thing to do. And here it is, the aftershot. With Candour norms installed, that bug monster is shrinking. Why? Because problems are getting squashed when they're still tiny. The team is now having these calm, constructive feedback sessions. Those hard conversations, they're not a threat anymore. They're a genuine performance advantage. Quality starts to improve instead of drift. And you build real, solid trust, not on fragile harmony, but on a foundation of truth. So after all this, what's the one thing you should walk away with? If you remember nothing else, remember this. When a team can't communicate, it is almost never a people problem. It's a system problem. And you know what? That's great news, because systems can be fixed. So the real question to leave you with is, what system is your team running on?